Alright, so today's video is about where I've been, and we're going to get into that right now.
Truly, I say to you, unless one is born of water and the Spirit, he cannot enter the kingdom of God.
So, it's not extremely important that I upload once a week or once every other week or something like that. It was sort of a goal that I set for myself. I wanted to try and shoot for at least a video every other week, or, like I said, my ultimate goal would be one video a week. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to upload in over a month, which is, again, the reason for this video. I am going to do a prayer request, so everyone who's watching this video who is a believer, I'm asking you to lift up Chelsea, my wife, and myself in prayer. As of June 4th, my wife started suffering what we can only think of as an episode of a flare-up of either ulcerative colitis or Crohn's disease. We're not sure at this point because it hasn't been specifically diagnosed, but that's what all the signs were pointing to. So I'm going to try and keep this Cliff Notes version. Long story short, we went to the urgent care on June 14th. She was prescribed a round of antibiotics called Flagyl. I can't remember the name. She did a 10-day course of that, started to feel a little bit better, and then things took a turn for the worst. So here we are as of this date, which I believe is July 18th. I'm losing track of time. Chelsea has been dealing with this flare-up since June 4th. So it's been over a month where she's been dealing with these severe symptoms. If any of you know anything about this condition, I'm not going to get into too much detail here because it's pretty graphic, but she has lost over 20 pounds, which is not good. She's a small person anyways, so for her to have lost 20 pounds is not great. Anyways, we've been to the hospital once. She spent a few days in the hospital where they were getting her hydrated and trying to treat her. Ultimately, they figured out that she had an infection called C. diff, which you can go ahead and Google that yourself. But typically this infection happens when we all kind of have this bacteria in our system and it's sort of all around us, but we deal with it on a daily basis. It's not such a big deal. But when you go through a round of antibiotics, that can actually kill off too much of the good bacteria in your gut, and the C. diff then begins to replicate and infect your bowels. So that's what we're dealing with right now. She has this infection called C. diff, and they have her on a round of antibiotics that's going to be 12 days. So we're now currently in day 7. This has presented some problems. It's been really difficult to try and keep her hydrated, which is what prompted a recent trip to the emergency room to just get some fluids in her. But again, we're just trying to pray for discernment. We're trying to pray for healing. And honestly, we're just trying to pray that she comes out on the other side of this stronger than before. So that is what I'm asking you guys for, is just to keep us both in your prayers. The second thing is I want to just sort of lay out some intentions with the channel. As far as like what my goal is with this channel, because we're almost to 1,000 subscribers, which means I'll be able to monetize soon, which means hopefully I would love if this ministry could become some supplementary income to what Chelsea and I are currently doing. We're both self-employed. Certainly I would love some supplementary income, especially with all the hospital bills that we have coming, but that's a different story. So the reason I bring any of this up is because I want it to be known that as far as why I'm doing this channel, it's because I have a heart for people who are currently locked into this false religion called the Jehovah's Witness faith. It's not even a faith. But I have a heart for them. I have a heart for them because I not only was deceived myself for many years, but I have family that is still thick in it and very deceived. In fact, I have a recent experience. It just sort of seems like when it rains, it pours. But my grandmother was recently diagnosed with some sort of internal bleeding. And of course, the doctors told her they can't operate on her without giving her a blood transfusion. And she has refused. So right now she's sort of in the process. I'm hoping she's recovering. The last thing I heard is that she's doing okay. But it was sort of a death sentence. Like when she said no to the blood, it was sort of like, okay, well, we can't operate on you, so just go home and get comfortable and wait for the end to come. So my family is still not only deeply entrenched into the organization, but they are being affected by it in life or death situations. So you better believe that there's going to be some blood videos coming along in the next couple of weeks, especially if Chelsea starts feeling better. But I do have a heart for Jehovah's Witnesses. I don't hate Jehovah's Witnesses. I love them and I want them to know the truth, the actual truth about Jesus, not the manufactured one by the Watchtower. The more stuff I see coming out from Watchtower, the more I'm convinced I'm just drawing a line in the sand. This is a wicked organization. These guys, they're not just misled, they're not mistaken, they're not imperfect, they're actually evil. And hopefully I'll be doing a video next week about David Splane and talking about apostates and how demonizing the organization is of anyone who leaves the faith and speaks poorly about the organization. It's all appeals to emotion. It's all dumbing down your critical thinking skills. This is a evil, wicked organization that does not encourage people to think for themselves. And they don't care what the facts are. They don't care what the truth is. They would rather you look at the perfect outside whitewashed side of things and base your judgments on the organization on those things. So there's going to be a lot of stuff that we're going to be covering, hopefully again in the next couple of weeks. But again, my intention is I have nothing against Jehovah's Witnesses, the people. I have everything against the governing body and the writing department and the teaching department and what they're doing in Warwick, New York right now. All of these indoctrination videos, all of these magazines, it's all horrible. And it deserves to have me and everyone else in this community speaking out against it daily and constantly. So I just wanted to pop on and do a quick video. Sorry, it's been a while since I've been able to upload, but there you go. That's what we've been dealing with. Again, we are just asking that you would lift Chelsea and myself up in prayer, give her healing, give us discernment as far as like what doctors we're supposed to work with, and then ultimately the doctors that she is working with, that they would put her on protocols that actually are going to start to contribute to her feeling better again and feeling like herself again. This is going to be a slow process. It's not a quick healing process, but again, I'm just hoping every day we start to see a little bit more of her strength return. So again, I want to thank you guys so much. You're an awesome community, and I really appreciate all the feedback that you give me in the comment section. And again, as always, I love you guys, and have a great day, and God bless.